Now, for more on China-UK economic ties, let's bring in Euan Rellie, co-founder of Asia-focused investment banking firm BDA Partners. Welcome to the show.
Rachelle, thanks for having me.
So let's start off with the Shanghai-London Stock Connect. Just how important is this overall to the China-UK economic relationship?
Well, first of all, Britain desperately needs some good news right now. Brexit, frankly, has not gone well. The mood in Britain is very depressed. And the positive news that we may now be able to do more business with China, that's seen as very good news for us in the UK.
And we know that something London was worried about was sort of losing this idea of being the financial hub there. So as you have Brexit, amid Brexit and beyond Brexit uncertainty, how far does this Stock Connect go and some of these outcomes from this dialogue to really furthering that goal?
Yeah, I think it's super important. I think, as I say, the UK really needs good news right now. And we in Britain recognize just how important China is going to be over the next 10 years. And we want to do everything we can to open that market.
And so for people trying to understand why this matters, what sort of opportunities does the Stock Connect and some of these other developments from the forum, what does that open up for investors in both countries?
First of all, I think it gives UK investors and UK companies the chance to get to know China and Chinese companies better. It's a promising but still a mysterious market for most British investors. And commensurately, it also opens up British companies to more trading opportunities, to more investment opportunities, because there are considerable pools of money in China that will be able to invest in the UK in future.
And we know that outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May called this the golden era of China-UK relations. Which sectors, though, have dominated this bilateral cooperation?
I think we in the UK are watching the Chinese consumer market first and foremost. Massive number of people who are gradually gaining more disposable income and more interest in buying Western goods, but at the same time technology. And we've seen such controversy around Huawei globally. The UK is making subtle noises that it's going to be very receptive to doing more business with Huawei. So we think telecoms and tech is going to be important as well.
And obviously a lot of pressure. The UK is sort of stuck in the middle. They're contending with Brexit. China, of course, dealing with the strange trade relations with the US, including these accusations against Huawei. How does that trade standoff between the US and China and this collateral damage with Huawei, how does that color investment and trade with the UK?
Sure. Well, we're losing an opportunity to trade as well with Europe. Brexit, by definition, will harm the amount of trade between Europe and the UK. At the moment, the UK only exports around $25 billion a year to China, 1/10 of what we export to the EU. And we really think there's a huge opportunity to grow that number considerably in the next 5 years.
Now, some added uncertainty. Obviously, there are some front runners now to replace Prime Minister May. Do we know if they plan on taking a different approach when it comes to economic ties with China?
Well, I'm watching that very closely, and I think, frankly, the front runner Boris Johnson has had an imperfect relationship with China historically. He's been generally occasionally seen as reckless in his foreign relations, and some of the other conservatives are being a little bit more welcoming to China. But we'll see. It's too early to tell. I think all of the candidates are posturing at the moment, and they know very well that trade with China is going to be an extremely important question, whoever takes over.
And as we look at expanding trade, we know that China is making more inroads into the EU via its Belt and Road Initiative. How do you see China balancing its ties with the EU and the UK post-Brexit?
It's a very interesting question. Hard to tell. I think the EU is a much bigger market taken in total. Even after the UK leaves, the EU is a bigger market. And obviously, Britain will be hoping that its diplomatic skills, its soft power, and maybe its tech and finance sectors will make it attractive. But certainly, we in the UK will be in competition with the EU going forward.
Certainly the changing of the times. Thank you so much. Euan Rellie there, co-founder of Asia-focused investment banking firm BDA Partners.